watts with a 0.28 build in it and 2 pools, and it damn near melted my lips to the top cap. It was so hot.
Just so you know, everybody can hear us now.
See, I think if you maybe would, what kind of top cap did you have? Only metal, or did you have like a Ultim top cap or anything?
Sorry, the video started coming through and stuff was conflicting. What's up?
Do you have like was it a metal top cap?
Yeah, it's a solid titanium top cap.
That's why.
Yeah, and I'm not like, dude, it's $160 RDA. I'm not dropping another $40-50 on a cap just so I can use it. I'm not that guy.
I get it, man. Some people are like that.
I can't say nothing. I bought a Tobino and wound up spending $45 on a cap and a drip tip to put on it.
No. See, that to me, that makes sense. That's understandable, right? Like I've got the B2K. It was $90, 75, 90. I don't even remember, but it come with all the top caps, drip tips, everything. Like, to me, Albert Lee was a genius when he decided to do this deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We talked about this before. He's like the first guy that ever sent me anything for review.
Really?
Yes. He sent me the original B2K for review, and I used to love that RDA, man. And it got me basically all my subscribers, man. And, well, in the early starting of it. And then he sent me like all the updated editions of it for review, and then he sent me the mouth to lung thing for review. So I like Albert Lee, man. He's a good guy. That would be very rude of you, sir. Like what? That's what they're thinking.
That's what they're implying.
I know, man. I'm pretty jealous of you right now because I ain't got that yet. What is it?
Yep.
Who is it? I have not seen that yet.
Brian Herb.
Well, I want to shout out Swamp Squonk Mike. How you doing, man? He's in the chat.
Swamp, easy for you to say.
Oh, I guess I didn't have my sound on. Well, look at that. All that shit I was talking, I had no sound on.
Uh-oh. What
Well, it's on now.
What's the next thing you wanted to talk about for the other Squonk mod?
Well, I think John will have more insight on that. It looks like he just got a phone call, but John and Bill had a Squonk mod they wanted to talk about that they think is pretty innovative, and so we'll get into that too. But and then I don't know, Steve and Bill, if you had anything else you wanted to talk about.
I don't know, man. Just let it roll and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Mr. Just Right, my man.
Oh, is Mr. Just Right in here? Hey, what's going on, brother?
He is in here. What's up, buddy? It is on. My sound is on. Yeah, I fixed it. I muted everything before we came live, but yeah. Let's get into some fucking buffets because I'm hungry. I'm super hungry. Who wants to go first? Bill and John are usually quick.
I'll go nice and easy. I'm rolling with my semi-naked cloak right here because Devin Jakey wanted to mill some doors and he didn't have measurements for the cloak, so I sent him mine so he would have measurements. And I've been rolling with my what is this? The Oceanus from iRoar Innikin. With the Cleto Pro Tank and my MyPod, of course, always next to me. I'll pass it to John there.
I'm easy peasy today, boys. Still rocking the Torque Kami mod, the Yeehee 457J Squonk, St. Louis 2700, 2X700 rather, and the B2K V5 on top. That's it.
I think Steve was last time and made a comment about it, so you should pass it to Steve.
Yeah, man. If you're not first, you're last, man.
What you doing?
So it's my turn, huh?
Yep.
I got the Rico with the biochip sitting on top. I got the US Mods Stinger, the original one, the 21700.
That was the first video of yours I watched.
Yes, this thing was. Hey, man, this thing's still pretty cool. I like that mod, and I got this thing on top. I don't know if I like it yet. The Lock by Pro. I got the Loyal Mods 21700 with the basic, and then my juice right now, as always, keep it 100, tropical and lemonade. And something I will never use is this by Simplicity Mods because it is garbage, and it's this. It's just been keeping the paper down on my desk.
Wow.
So yeah.
What are you vaping in that Vicks Vapo Rub?
Yes. And yes, I use it when my nose is stuffed. So that's about it for me.
All right.
Holy shit, what's going on? I haven't seen a single square on my screen yet.
Yeah, me neither.
What's wrong?
I think, and for some reason, my internet is great too. So I wonder if it has something to do with my internet since I'm the one broadcasting out, or
possibly.
Anyway.
No one's ghost right now.
So I'm rocking the H-Sig Aurora with the Jazz RDA, and inside of that I got some sour green apple flavor. Don't know what the hell it is. Bought it at a different shop than Phoenix, and I don't remember what it's called. And we were talking about this, man. This tank is, I hate sub-ohm tanks, but this fucking tank is killing it. So I got the H Cigar Wild Wolf, which they sent me for review, so shout outs to you. And I got the Aspire Cleto Pro, which I am loving this tank. And inside of that, I got the Mike Juice Hit That Donut Boston Cream Pie. I got my Therion DNA 75C with the D Pro Mini, but this is like the device that I rock throughout the day. Like the other stuff is what I bring out when I'm sitting down chilling, but this has like been my all day device and all day vape for like a while now. But I got the D Pro Mini with the Squonk Donkey cap on top of the Therion with Phoenix Vapor Blue Punch in there, and then I got my Vandy Vape Simple X with Twisted Sour Strawberry, 35 milligram, and the little RDA that comes with it.
They should call that the Vandy Vape Head Rush.
Dude, I love the thing. I don't know, but I like me some nicotine. So I got the Box Mod Mafia DNA Snitch 75C with the Karma on top of that, Twisted Sour Lemon Lime. And then I got the Box Mod Mafia Tiny version 2 with the Aora, and I got Raspberry Lemon Law in that. And then finally, I have the Orion. Oh my goodness, with the Twisted Sour Peach, and my Tesla Sliver with the Salt Bay Blue Raspberry. And finally, I'm re-wicking my Deuce Zool RTA on top of my Aegis Legend, and I have 1 in a Melon watermelon in that. And I would have my profile on the H cigar instead. Shouts to Mr. Just Right One. But instead, everybody in the shop is so amazed by it that it's been passed around by everybody because they all want to try it too. So, yeah, but that's enough.
Tell them, don't touch my shit.
Yeah, that's enough of that. And I think since I'm kind of talking about the profile a little bit, that's a good lead in for innovation because to me, innovation is often simplicity that's overlooked. Like people overthink too much and look past the simple solutions. And we were kind of talking about this before the show. Not only has the profile RDA done that, but then the top side Squonk mod. Holy hell. I think that is going to change the game. I don't see how after that thing gets popular, because it's going to sweep the market because it's going to be affordable and easily accessible, and it's a high quality device. I don't see how other companies are going to be able to not do top
Ain't
fill.
nobody going to compete with it. It's out pre-sale right now for $80.
Yeah. I mean,
it's going to kill the game.
I still haven't seen it yet. What? I need to look it up.
So it kind of reminds me of like, wow, why can I think of
Squid Industries?
The Squid Industries double barrel, except
Yeah.
for instead of it being the two battery things, it's a single 2700 or 21700. It does have an 18650 adapter too, but
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, instead of the other side being the battery, you actually unscrew it and you can fill so it's just like a Geek Vape flask, how you unscrew the top of that to fill it. It's the same kind of concept. He even explains that in his introduction video. And that thing just blows my mind.
It does. It looks like a cross between the Squid Industries double barrel and that really, really super high-end check beat.
Yes, exactly. And there's so many little things that he thought about on that. And that's why the profile RDA reminded me of it, because there's all those little things in the profile RDA, like the tool that comes around to shape the mesh. Little things that are so simple, but people have never done. And inside the top side, it has a magnet at the bottom. So when you unscrew the squonk bottle door thing on top, you put the magnet on the bottom and it holds it there so you don't lose the shit. And that the bottle is constantly pressurized. So even if you've got 1 milliliter left in your squonk bottle, it's still going to squonk the same as when you got 10 milliliters in it.
Yeah, you ain't got to crush the bottle to get
right. And that to me, and it's funny because I was watching Vape Stew a couple weeks back, and Sherlock was talking about how, from his viewpoint and things that he knows of what's coming in the pipelines that the community as a whole doesn't know, simplicity is what's taking over the game. And that excites me because of the profile RDA and the top side are the type of things that we're going to see, those simple things that are just simple, overlooked fixes to already popular, the mesh RDAs weren't popular, but I think they're going to be now. But those simple fixes to complicated devices, that's pretty fucking cool to me.
I think that's the best way to go. I mean, we have multiple people doing. Right now I've seen, without exaggeration, I'd say 4 or 5 new mods about to hit the market, and every one of them is something I want. Something that's a little bit different. I mean, granted, like Devin's coming out with one called the Soulless over at Lone Alchemist Craftworks, and it's going to be a side fire, but it's still going to be a box, kind of like the cloak, but just one side solid. The other one is John's area. That's 2 modders coming out with 18350 squonks, which are both ridiculously awesome looking. So, I mean, I definitely want to look at one of those.
Tell me about those 18350s, John. Or what you can tell us right now.
All right. So there was an idea thrown around of, hey, a lot of people are getting into Nick's salts. A lot of us love our salts, but a lot of people really do not want to pay for pods nonstop, right? So we started thinking about solutions. A couple people suggested a high-end pod system. I was like, well, at the end of the day, the Nick Salt devices, those are aimed towards beginner vapors most times, right?
Yeah.
So that seemed like a terrible idea to me, because you're taking somebody who were trying to get into vaping and off of cigarettes and saying, hey, well, you've got your Infinix at $16, or come buy our fancy one for $75. Like that. If I was a consumer just getting into vaping, that would scare the hell out of me. Like, why is something this basic so expensive? Like, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to save money. I may not be able to afford this, etc. Right? So, Daniel made mention of VapCell having some like 10 amp 1100 mile 18350s on the market now. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty impressive. Let's see what we can do there. And I started looking around. I found a couple little mouth to lung RDAs. Daniel, shout out to him, even though he's not with us. I don't even know how many he's vaped through lately, but it's a lot. So we have pretty good dealings with Kona Hall over at Marikai Creations, as well as Sal over at Matchbox Mods. They're both awesome dudes. And so we hit them up and we're like, hey, look, check it out. We found a factory. They're willing to make 2 mil bottles for us. Like, we can put these RDAs on the market, put these mods on there, a 10 amp 1100 mAh battery, build it like a 1 ohm or above, and with an 18350, 2 of them, you've got an all-day vape. So you've got Nick salts now in a rebuildable form. And it just made sense to me.
So,
absolutely. And you guys talked to Sal and Conal, and the funny part is they came up with 2 completely different ideas.
Yep.
That's what I thought was awesome. The Napoleon, and I don't know what Conal named his.
I'm not even sure if it truly has a name yet, to be honest. He generally lets his community name his mods. Almost every design he's done, they decide the name on it.
That's actually a smart move.
yeah, because they're the ones that are going to buy it. So I got a question, John, because I talked to Daniel a little bit about this months ago, and that was way before this guy came out. So obviously, you guys weren't looking at this for inspiration. That was before this came out. So I'm curious on what you think will be differentiating between like this style of small squonk and that style. I know external battery sounds like more battery life. What are some other things?
Just the overall aesthetic. So, like me myself, oddly enough, I know I'm rocking regulated. I have used this more than I've used any regulated device in my life. I have DNA 200s, I've got DNA 250s, I've got DNA 75s, and at the end of the day, I love my Max. Like I love the fact that I can take my RDA, I can build it the way I know I'm going to like it, and it doesn't matter what tube I put it on. If I can switch it between 15 different parallel mods, I'm going to get the vape that I know I'm expecting. All the time, every time.
You can build it to suit yourself. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I see. Look, I just can't get into mech mods. I don't know what it is, but
That's how I am too. I have a couple I like. I like my Dreamer, but I like with mech mods, I'm kind of very
I just
cautious
can't
about when I'm
do it,
using
man.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't
I
know
have one friend. He won't do mech mods because he told me building coils, he goes, there's too much thought going into it. He goes, I just want to do it, adjust my wattage, and move on.
Now we're talking about 18350s and 18. Have you seen a lot of 18500 mods too?
I have not.
This guy that the mod I showed you guys in chat earlier, he makes like a 18350 and an 500 mod. I was thinking, I don't know, man. This might be my leeway into mech mods is to maybe get something like that,
Honestly,
but I don't know.
Between you and I like the design. I don't like the squonk hole. I'll get my finger caught in that. I got big pudgy fingers.
Really quick, I wanted to shout out. So Mr. Just Right one is still with us. Nunya Beeswax, Ricky Mahoney. I'm hoping Swamp Squonk Mike is still in here. Haven't seen him say anything for a while, but just want to make sure we shout him out.
Is the whole thing with 18350 to go with? Is it to go with Nick salts and with mouth to lung vaping or what?
Well, yeah, because with the 18350, you're going to have to build that more up towards 1 ohm. You might, because I see a lot of people like I build at 2 ohms on most of my mech squonks, and I think we lost John. I usually build about 2 ohm or 0.02. Let me rephrase that, 0.2, and that would have been really bad.
You gotta blow yourself up.
I mean, but if I did that on an 18350, I am way, way, way beyond the CDR rating on that thing.
So that's like what it's for then. It's for like really high resistant.
Yeah, you can go 0.6. You can even do a 1.5.
Well, see, because look, my normal daily vape, like right now, it's 0.6, man, and it's the basic 1.1. Or you go to my my biochip, it's 0.44. I don't usually vape lower than that, man. That's I'm in the higher already, but I can never find a mouth to lung that I can get good flavor with. So that's why the biggest thing for me is finding a good one with flavor.
So I kind of, for me, and Martin said that he only uses mech squonkers. And then Joel, Mr. Just Right, said that he doesn't use mechs due to folks seeing what he vapes and wanting to lead by example. I don't want somebody to use a mech not knowing Ohm's law and safety, so I use regs mostly for safety's sake. And I can agree with that. Like at Phoenix, they told employees can't have mechs on the floor anymore. They stopped selling mechs because they used to give like an Ohm's law test to anybody buying a mech, and that was
fucking sad,
right?
That is sad.
But
I think that's another reason I think I don't review mech mods and stuff, because I don't want to give someone the wrong advice and then something happened to them, you know?
Absolutely. What? I'm admin for a couple groups, and honestly, this points to what you're saying. I'm admin for a couple groups. Do you know 3 of my groups have a set rule? If you tell someone, like hypothetically, you had one guy in the group telling another guy that a 0.07 ohm build was safe on a Sony VTC6. And I was like, are you fucking high?
What?
Literally. So we now have an immediate ban. You give advice like that, we just boot you from the group. You're gone.
Yeah, that's just like, if you want to do that to yourself, man, whatever, but you shouldn't be telling people.
Yeah, and you have people saying it, like other guys were like trying to get around the rule, and they're like, well, I'm not going to tell you what to build, but I vape at 0.8 all day long on a regular 18. One guy was giving advice telling him he could build at 0.05 on a fucking, what was it, an HC Brownie? I'm like, are you fucking high, dude? I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, y'all all know I build. I had a cloud comp guy that I sponsored for a long time, and people, he didn't do it often, but occasionally he'd let people try the build that he run at comps and such. And I would have people approach me and be like, hey, I want what you built that guy. What's that run? I'm like, no.
If you don't know off the top of your head, I'm not making it for you.
Yeah, no shit.
I didn't even feel comfortable building it for him, but like he went into it with the understanding of like, hey, I know full good and well what I'm doing, and if something goes south, this is on me.
Yeah, I did that because I had a custom coil built for myself, and I'll admit it was not safe. Yeah. And I did it because I had one guy talking so much crap, and he's looking at me with my squonker, and I was like, dude, trust me, built right, these little squonkers will run. And he's like, no, they won't. So I had Dwayne Rambo do me stainless steel framed staples, and dude, that thing ohmed out at 0.09. And I put that on my cloak with the Karma RDA, and literally this kid's running a Purge mech with a Armageddon on top of it, and I literally clouded him out with one coil. I was like, dude, trust me, if you don't know what you're doing, you're never going to compete with people.
So, well, let me ask you guys. Each of you can answer, however, but what is your normal build? Like, what do you run as resistance wise?
So for me, I mean, I use a lot of regulateds. When I'm running a regulated, I'm usually using a 0.2 to a 0.3, and when I'm running a mech, I usually use 0.14 to 0.18.
And then what's your what watts? What are you doing it at?
It kind of depends on the RDA, but I would say the sweet spot for me is between 60 and 80. But there's some things that I run as high as 110 that have a lot of airflow.
See, I just don't. How do you vape that? I mean, I know people vape it, man, but like my normal vape's 30 watts, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
34 watts, 35 watts, maybe.
That's because your coils are 0.6 ohms.
That's true. Yeah.
So I run, obviously, whenever I'm not running this bad boy, the one regulated box that I do run consistently is my little Flawless Tugboat DNA 250. And I run a 20-ply staple in the Goon 24. And I rock it around 185 watts typically.
I'm building again, Travis. Leave me alone.
He's looking at my feet, making sure nobody stole it.
I don't know if did you shout out Builder Guard Travis, because he's in there. Martin's in the chat.
Hey,
and
Travis.
So Ricky Mahoney and DC Rackley.
Yeah.
So, what's up, guys?
To continue what you were saying is, honestly, I always vape between round 0.15, 0.17, 2 ohms, somewhere around there.
So you're higher ohms then.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys use simple round wire anymore or no?
No, I run N90 Aliens in every one of my Addies.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm pretty consistently like I love my staple builds, so I do keep that 120 ply staple going at all times. But aside from that, as crazy as this is going to sound to people that don't build, like I can build and wrap a set of aliens or Fralians with less hassle than I do trying to get like a perfectly spaced round wire build.
Oh, dude, round wire builds can be a pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah.
You tell me Fralians, you're talking to my heart there. Because
Yeah, me too. I was about to say.
Nobody makes them that's affordable. I saw one guy and I was like, can you make me a set of Fralians? They're like, yeah, $16 for a set. I was like, nope, thank you.
I know a guy who'll give you 3 sets for that price, but we'll talk.
We'll talk.
Yo, I'm about to stop building and just buy from him.
Well, he's the thing is, there's the ship. I think he does it because he's up in Canada, and so you got to pay a little bit more for shipping. So he knows he's got to get a better price because you're gonna have to pay more on shipping. But yeah, he was doing that. Man, I have one of his coils. I think I've actually switched it between multiple RDAs. But it's in my Karma right now, and I've had it since like March. I want to say.
You know you're a broke vapor when you take one coil out of one RDA and put it.
That's
in.
like the.
This
That's
is
like
like
the
a $450 setup. What you talking about?
That's like the hobo coil, man.
I just like if I like a coil, man. Fuck.
I call this coil the Wanderer.
Yeah.
Wow. But no, I know what you're saying, John, because here I'm not
tries to change subject quickly.
Yeah, shut up. Oh, you want me to don't make me pull out my checking account, make you all feel stupid.
Whoa.
Ouch.
Yo, we can compare. I'll pull mine up on screen. I don't mind showing off the $3 in my checking. Let's go.
Hey, I got 7 figures in my bank account. There's about $1,534.25.
Well, that's not bad for a.
That's 7 figures. I count the change, dude.
But no, what I was saying is that now I totally forgot because we started talking about my checking account, and I was thinking about going home and taking a bath with my money. So John, I don't know how much you could talk about, but I hear you're going to Mexico.
I am. I leave around 6 a.m.
What's going on?
That's why y'all get me from the bedroom. Well, actually, I'm gonna give a shout out to your company or your current employer. I got to thinking a lot about whenever we were discussing pricing and stuff like that, and you made a comment. And I've been in the industry on the commercial side for a couple of years, and you made the comment, well, they're doing this because they want to make vaping affordable. And I got to thinking about that concept, and I'm like, well, you know, it's a great mission statement. The pricing scheme is a method for market domination because everybody loves cheaper stuff as long as it's reasonable quality, right?
Right.
But then after I took a trip down to see family in Monterey, I realized vaping is not affordable there. Like their market prices. So for those of you that don't know, a single US dollar fluctuates between 15 to 20 Mexican pesos, depending on the day. A single 60 mil of like garbage house juice will run them 15 to 18 American dollars.
Dang.
So to put this into perspective, the average minimum wage in Mexico is $4.73 a day.
Whew. So
if they want to vape instead of smoke, that's 4 days worth of wages for a 60 mil of juice. Or they can go to the closest Oxxo and they can grab a pack of Marlboros for $2.23.
Oh.
So I started doing a bunch of research and I found out it's kind of in a weird state in Mexico right now. Federally, they say it's illegal, but regionally, they leave the enforcement up to municipalities, right? So I did some asking around. They were like, well, if you want to pay the tobacco tax, we'll let you operate. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I believe in this industry. I believe in the health benefits of the technology. So I am relocating myself and my entire family down to Mexico, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make vaping affordable to the masses there.
That's awesome.
I think that's going to be great. I think you're going to kill it down there.
I do too. I think you will too. And what else is really cool about that is it's not like you can't still sell stuff to the U.S., right? How is that going to work with the import and all that? How does that work out of Mexico?
That part is still, it's going to take me about a month and a half. Yeah, that way. I see you actually, I'll just respond in chat. But so that is the thing I'm working on. The paperwork process for starting a business there is far more detailed than what we deal with here in the States. Like it's a total of like 8 different permits that I have to have before I can file to open the business. It's
Damn.
one sec. Yeah, it's actually nuts. So I know it's possible. It's just a matter of getting all the legalities in place and sorted after I get there. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm after.
So wait, when will you be there? What, you're leaving
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I leave tomorrow morning. I'll be there by 8-9 o'clock.
Well, I think that's awesome what you're doing, man.
I do too.
Now, are you flying out there?
No, I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving. Oh, that's right. You're in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a quick hop, skip, and a jump. The only problems, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with Mexico. My only experience is 22 years old, skipping across the border in
TJ.
Where were we? Eagle Pass, and I think we skipped over into Piedras Negras, or was it Eagle Pass? No, Del Rio, and we skipped over into Piedras Negras on the southwest of Texas, and that's no bueno, man. I wound up coming home broke. I barely had enough change to get back across the border.
Yeah, it's so
I think I almost had a wife too.
Wow. But yeah, so like I said, Eric, I kind of actually owe this to Phoenix in a way because that's what inspired me. I just recently did my own retail site here in the States, Diamondback Vape Co. So it's up and live with a new facelift, and I even sacrificed a bunch of my margins there. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to go ahead and put you on blast, Eric.
Oh, shit.
Eric and I are both now heavily involved with an advocacy group called I Quit Smoking by Vaping.
And Travis is in the chat too, so.
Yeah, and we got the man at the helm in there, Beauregard Travis, in the chat with us. So I did a lot of soul searching. I thought about it for quite some time, and I decided, you know what? If I'm ever going to take a risk on something, why not take a risk on helping? At the very least, there's 7 million people in Monterey. Even if I can't do commerce outside of that city, you have almost a 40% smoking rate in the area.
Ooh.
So if I can get 3 million people off of cigarettes and onto vaping, that sounds like a hell of a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I love it, dude. I love it. Is there any kind of, and I do want to go into advocacy as we're reaching on 20 minutes, but this is also a very important thing is that line, because businesses have to make money. I mean, duh. Keep the lights on, have employees. But is there any fears you have about all this? I'm sure you do, but I just kind of curious about what's going on in your head, because it seems like a really big move.
Especially because you're uprooting your whole life, man, going down there.
Yeah.
So I know he's a political figure now, but Donald Trump wrote a book, and it was labeled, I believe, The Fear of Success or something along those lines. Give me a sec to fact check myself here. But I believe that was the name of it. But he wrote a book that I was reading a bunch of, and I started looking into it. I started reading. No, it was Jonathan. No, okay. So what was that? Trump. Sorry, I'm terrible with names of stuff. But long story short, I read a bunch of business books. I come from a very corporatized background, and I just, for the sake of not sounding like the crazy tinfoil hat kind of guy, like I just really got tired of being used and abused by corporate America, man. I was with
that's definitely understandable, man. Everyone wants to be their own boss, basically, man.
I worked for a company a few years back where when my youngest daughter was born, like I was managing 3 locations simultaneously, and I had to have my mom take my wife and daughter home from the hospital because they told me, no, you have to be back in that office on the other side of the state when we open Monday morning. And I got to thinking about the cost of that. It's like, is the money really worth it? Like, obviously, we all have to have money to survive, but if I'm not around to put the right values and morals into my children, I want to, is being able to buy them a Mustang worth the cost of not being able to raise them to be proper citizens, proper human beings?
Yeah.
That cost didn't worth it to me. So I kind of made the choice. I did a bunch of research and I said, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to be my own boss. I'm going to make this work. And so to finally get back on topic here, yeah, I'm absolutely terrified. There's it's a new country, entirely new laws, entirely new way of life. Like whenever I first went down there, dude, it was probably the most unsettling thing ever. So like I get across the border, we're cruising along, I'm maybe 3 miles into the country, and I look up and there's like a group of federal military police that are just chilling under a bridge, and they've got 2 tacks with mounted 50 cals and a fully stocked fucking armored personnel carrier. They're just sitting under the bridge having a bottle of water, shooting the shit. And I was like, whoa. And then we get through the toll booth and we stop at a gas station to grab drinks, and you walk in and you've got 3 soldiers in full LBEs, everything with M4s at the ready. I was like, whoa, holy shit. Like, did we just walk in at a bad time? And they were like, no, everything's perfectly fine. They're just here in case somebody wants to act stupid. Oh, well, okay. Cool. Glad you guys are here.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Mexico that doesn't go on here, you know what I mean? Especially stuff where they need that.
You know, in my experience so far, it's really not that different. It's just that the cartel operations are a hot topic in the news, so they get far more publicization. English.
I've worked with a couple people from Mexico, and they've told me just border stories and how they've gotten here, and it just seems pretty nuts.
Well, that's another big misconception on stuff. Like, obviously, border towns, like when you're talking Tijuana, Laredo, places like that, like, yeah, okay. There's those are going to bring out the worst kind of people, because as Americans, especially if you live in those areas, it's like, well, I can go out and drop $200-300 on a night on the town, or I can take this little trip into TJ and I can drink all night for like $25.
Yep. 25-cent beers, man.
And so that's a really attractive option if you're trying to stretch on a budget and still have a good time, right?
Sure.
And so you become a real vulnerable and you become a target. You turn yourself into a target at that point. And so, yeah, the border towns are sketch. Like, we do not stop at the border. We get through the border and we haul ass.
Sure.
But once you're in Monterey, bro, it's a city with 7 million people. Like, you're meaningless there.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. I just wanted to say, because I was in the corporate world for a while too, and also kind of made that decision. I mean, there were some other things in between, but there was a point where I had the chance to go back to the corporate world and decided not to. And I had a very similar experience to you, John. My son had febrile seizures when he was young, but at the time I didn't know it was caused by a fever. He was with my mom, who I was paying to watch him while I was at work, and he had 2 seizures in 10 minutes. And I said to the director of where I was working, hey, I got to go. My son just had a seizure. And she looked at me and said, kids have seizures all the time. He'll be fine. We need you here. And I said, fire me, and walked out. And
wow.
So I totally get that. The corporate world is all about money. They don't really care about human beings. And so it's nice to be able to work somewhere, whether it be for yourself or for someone else that actually cares about human beings.
No, I did the same thing. I worked corporate. I was working in an office, and I slowly came to the realization that unless you own the company, you're somebody's bitch, no matter what.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what I got tired of. And I was like, you know what? I went back to school to do the medical stuff. EMT medic, all that stuff. And you know what? I would never trade it. And I love doing what I do now, working in the medical field. So it's granted, I'm under the doctor, but my doctor treats me like one of his friends. So I have no problems there.
Steve, you were going to say something?
I mean, I don't have any experience in the corporate world, but
that's because you're like 22 years old. You're barely working.
I know that I want to be my own boss as well, man. I don't really want someone telling me what to do. I mean, I know, it's just that's just my mentality about it. I'm not good with authority, man, and I've never really been good at it. So,
well, that's kind of a misconception in a way, and that's even if you own the company, you still have bosses. It's
right,
just
the board.
Your boss becomes the general public, your consumer base.
Yeah,
but I could deal with that though. You know what I mean? I think that's something you're trying to please the public or trying to please your customers, and I am more than happy to do something like that. You know, I like to help others, which is why I started my channel, and I wanted people to stop smoking as I did, and watching my mom being sick, I didn't want people to go through that. So I think that's something what you're doing right now, man. I really dig it. I think that's awesome.
So we got Vapor Swaggins from the Omies and also the Vape Stew alternate in the chat as well. Shout outs to Vapor Swaggins. I'm just picking on him a little bit with the alternate thing. It looks like Philly Vape is in here too. I don't know if we already shouted him out.
Philly Vape, why are you here? We ain't giving nothing away this week.
Dat way, I don't know if we shouted that way out. But yeah, thank you all for joining us. So we got 13 minutes left. John, thanks for opening up about all that. It's pretty cool to hear the whole story there. But you guys know what what do I always try to touch on before we go?
Advocacy. Let's hear it.
So we got the FDA now joining in on this bullshit. And let me tell you, you know, as the vaping politician being involved in politics, and I told Travis a little bit of this, and John might have heard me talk about this too. I kind of see this as those same groups who are anti-vaping that are funded by Big Tobacco. But
fearmongers.
Fearmongers. They're putting pressure on Gottlieb, that pretty boy over there. He's so cute. They're putting pressure on Gottlieb, but I also see this as a way for S3319 to appear more legitimized. Coincidentally, you have 3319 dropping about a month ago, and now suddenly we have Gottlieb coming out specifically mentioning flavors. But one interesting thing that did also come out of that is the fact that he did admit finally that closed pod systems, I don't have any in front of me right now, but closed pod systems are what youth goes for, not open pod systems, which is interesting because I could give two fucks if you get rid of closed pod systems.
Yeah, me either, man.
The one reason I do care about it is because people who are first quitting smoking, more than likely that is what they're using first. I mean, the Juul, for a reason, is the biggest player in the game.
We talked about this one maybe a couple shows ago, that the pod systems, I think, are the biggest thing that they're trying to say is targeting kids and teenagers and everything else. But you know what, man? Those are the things that helps you quit smoking. If you're a normal smoker going into it and then not, you know, just gung-ho going into RDAs, you know?
And what it is those are the things that are in convenience stores as well.
Yeah, like the
Listen, I'm going to tell you what. I was at the vape shop just Saturday morning, and honestly, there was two kids. I swear to God, they looked maybe 14, 15 years old, and they came up. They were trying to buy Juuls, and the one guy, he's looking at them, and literally the one kid looked at the other kid, and he goes, "Yeah, everybody's Juuling in school." They actually put an ing at the end of it, and they call it Juuling now. So they hide in the bathroom, they nick themselves up till they're fucking lightheaded.
But that goes back to, like, your parents should be watching you. Like, that has nothing to do with us.
But you know what? Stop trying to control everything, because honestly, I'm going to be a real dick and play devil's advocate right now, because I was notorious. I was that guy smoking in the fucking bathroom.
I mean, look, I smoked in high school too, man. And
we all did it.
That's why I'm vaping now. But, you know.
I mean, I'd rather see my son fucking Juuling in high school than smoking a cigarette.
I mean, I can see what you're saying there. Yeah.
But that's the devil's advocate in me. I understand the government wants to literally try and control everything that everyone under 18 does.
But I mean, look, if the government wants to be that way, they should. I mean, why are cigarettes still available? I mean, if that's how they want to be, if you're not allowed to buy vape anything, then why are cigarettes even made available?
No, you're absolutely right. That's my problem is you're not going to control these kids. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want.
Exactly. If they're not vaping, they're going to be smoking.
The price of them trying to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't advocate for children to vape either.
No.
But I would much rather, and I've seen other people bring this point too, but I would much rather see a kid quit smoking by vaping. I would much rather see that. Although I don't want to see it at all. I don't want to see them do either.
Because it just looks bad for us when that happens.
Right. And this motherfucker has the audacity, Scott Gottlieb, to call it an epidemic when you have things like opiates, who I personally, 6.5 years sober, but I personally, as a youth, dealt with as a person struggling with addiction that I could get way easier than I could almost get damn near anything. Now that's a fucking epidemic that the FDA should be paying attention to, not vaping. I'm sorry, but vaping is not killing children and opiates are. I have dozens and dozens of friends who have either overdosed or have been killed over drug deals gone bad. And if you want to put so much attention and resource into something that's actually killing children, that is something. And let's also talk about the bullshit food we have that the FDA is not doing a damn thing about. You know what I'm saying? You're poisoning our kids through the food they eat, but that doesn't fucking matter. What matters to the fucking FDA is the thing that Big Pharma wants them to pay attention to, that Scott Gottlieb is getting funded by. And I will tell him that straight to his face. He can come talk to me, and I will tell him what's really going on. Because
no, the FDA's basically a high-paid fucking guard dog for fucking Big Pharma and Big Tobacco.
Right. They're prioritizing who gives them money, not as what is most harmful to children.
That's what it is, though, man. They bring kids into everything because that's the way you get the mass of people to say, "Oh, man, that's bad. You can't have that."
Yeah, right. Because if you stand up as an individual, if you pop up and go, "Oh, well, we'd rather kids vape than smoke," or "No, the kids aren't the reason why you're trying to do this." Well, now you're against kids. Well, now you're the biggest asshole on the block.
Yeah, man. That's always the argument. That argument's so overplayed. It's like, come on, man.
But really off topic and real quick, since I'm heading out in the morning now. Exactly what you were saying about the food, Eric.
Yeah,
dude. I suffer with like severe acid reflux and indigestion issues, dude.
Me too.
I gotta tell you, the entire week I was in Mexico, like, bro, I love spicy food. So like the entire last week I was there, bro, I tore it up. I was eating steak, like grabbing tacos at random stands, smothering them with all the hot sauce. Nothing. Like no digestion issues whatsoever. And I'm asking around, I'm like, hey, like what's the difference between our food and their food? Like, why am I not having these problems? Well, their beef is still raised on farms. It's still fed with grain. And the most important part, to get organic beef, it's not $45 a pound. Vegetables are actually cheaper than candy.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, they don't process it and add all kinds of fucking hormones to it.
Yeah.
You saying that about the food, man, it's just my girlfriend's actually from a different country, and she said that the food here is so much I don't know, man. She said it's definitely not the same than what she has. It's like, the chicken they have is nowhere near as big because it's not pumped full of steroids and stuff, and just everything that they do to food here is a lot different.
Oh, yeah. The chicken I can touch on personally. I have a good friend who's a chicken farmer for Tyson. Dude, when they bring in a load of chicks, they dump them. He has three chicken houses set up, right? They bring in a load of chicks. The driver literally backs up. They dump all these baby chickens into his pens. He shuts them off. 6 weeks later, these things are at like 5-6 pounds, and they're going back out the door.
That's not normal, man.
Yeah.
That's like you're eating a monster. You're not eating like a real healthy grown chicken.
Yeah, not only people talk about GMOs, our animals are fucking genetically modified organisms right now.
Huge, man.
And that's the kind of shit the FDA needs to be focusing on, not vaping.
But they get so much money from those people and everything else that's never going to be touched on. And going
you're right.
into the drug subject, man, my area where I live is heavily just riddled with drug use. And my friends also, I've had friends OD and everything. But, you know, who do you think makes money off that? Hospitals, everything else, dude, because they don't care to really focus on that. They want an easy subject like this that they can manipulate because they don't think anyone's going to stand up for it, man.
Well, honestly, I think it goes further than that. I'm also a big reptile person. I bred roaches and leopard geckos and ball pythons and all kinds of crazy, creepy, crawly shit in my lifetime. And exactly what we're seeing happening with vaping just happened in the reptile industry like 5 years ago.
Really?
Like you saw these small businesses pop up. People started becoming self-sufficient. The industry was booming, and there was no real regulation, taxation, or control in place against it. And instantly, the same thing, literally, false science reports started coming out. All of a sudden, like, anacondas are going to take over the United States, even though it's scientifically impossible and proven without a doubt. And dude, they railed us so hard in the reptile industry. And just now, I don't know. I honestly don't have a hard figure of how many millions we pumped into these lobbyist orgs that popped up on our behalf overnight, kind of like the Casas and the Stafadas. We had the same thing happen in the reptile industry, almost identical in nature. It's almost like Orwellian or deja vu happening all over again. Literally the exact same process played out, and I'm seeing it happen in vaping now. And it took us, 7 years now, with God knows how many millions of dollars being pumped into advocacy before we finally got the first part of legislation repealed.
Wow.
And I'm not talking about menial impacts. Like, we had one guy that literally went and testified in front of a small panel in Louisiana and was sitting there telling these senators, like, look, if y'all put this in place, you're literally going to destroy people's lives. Like, there were people that were so passionate about it that they would mortgage their homes and started businesses with it. Like, their entire life savings poured into what they were passionate about. And just overnight, they passed the bill. It's called the Lacey Act. So it started with Burmese pythons. No more Burmese pythons were allowed to cross straight lines. Burmese pythons, African rock pythons, and a few other species. And they just continued to broaden that reach until now you're left with only the big dogs that could afford to play ball.
And that's what they're trying to do here, man. And that's why they're consulting with the top five, which I'm back and forth on, because I think that the big five or whatever, you know, they do have similar interests in mind, but they also have way different interests in mind. All they have in mind is pod systems, right? And money. Yeah. And so to me, it really concerns me because they're not, this is the thing. So even though those guys might make up 97% of the market, it's not necessarily 97% of the vapors, because I buy pod systems, right? And even though I don't think I own any from those big five, but so I don't know. It concerns me to leave control anytime you're leaving control into a small group of people.
That's not the right way.
Right. So we're it's 6:59. One thing I wanted to ask is, Brandon Reed said I'm a kick in the balls, or I was a kick in the balls. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So I was really curious about that. It was right when I started talking about advocacy. So I don't know if
it's actually 9:59.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm going to say 8:59 here.
Oh my goodness.
You should be more self-aware to everybody else's time zones.
I'm a ball buster.
It's honestly, I want to touch on something Philly Vape said. Yes, you're right about the girls of the 50s and the girls now. And that is my doctor that I work with is one of those research freaks. And he said it is actually directly related to chicken, because chickens are actually pumped up with breast enhancement steroids because everybody wants that white meat. Yep. And
oh, wow, that makes
young girls are actually absorbing breast enhancement steroids at a young age, 4 years old. As soon as they get on regular food, they're eating chicken that's filled with breast enhancement steroids.
That's what I mean. You look at kids, man; they're like fully grown looking, and they're not even 18 yet, or
Yeah,
even like
I see
they're
it all
just like,
day at my job. I see girls that we stop and we look at it, and we're like, "Ooh, look at that!" And then all of a sudden, we realize it's a fucking patient, and she's like 15.
Yeah.
it's like impossible to tell, man. That's the food you get fed as a kid, man. That's just what it is.
What's Thursday night, Build-A-Guard?
I'll tell you during my sign out.
All right. Make sure everybody who's in the chat, make sure you guys come on out to Vegas the 9th and the 10th of November. Hopefully, I'll see y'all at the Vape Expo.
I wish I could go to that.
So make sure you go subscribe to Bill's channel. Google search Cooper's Vaping View. That's the easiest way to find it.
Yes, I need viewers.
Go subscribe to Phoenix Vapor channel, youtube.com/Phoenix Vapor. If you're here, you're probably already subscribed to Steve, but go ahead and subscribe to him anyway. Thursday night, I will be me, Travis Build-A-Guard, a.k.a. Travis of JMT Elite, a.k.a. Warrior RDA, and James Franklin from the Omies, and myself will be on Vaping with Ken and Jared the Vaping Goat show, and Michelle Lynn Doldime, their show, to talk about advocacy and iQuitSmokingByVaping.com. And yeah, so that's all I have for a sign off. Who's next?
That was so beautiful, man.
He didn't even say "haka" once today.
I was waiting for that shit.
I didn't. Sorry. No one else is signing off, huh?
Oh,
I'm gonna stay here forever.
I already signed off. I told everybody get out here for the Vape Expo.
I was gonna go last because that's usually how I get put in. Just last.
Oh wow! There he goes. There he goes.
Put me in the corner over here. I'm just gonna.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Just put me in the corner.
okay. Well, I'm gonna give my own shameless plug then, guys, because I never do. So I'm going to once. I'm gonna throw my my new website address up in the chat here, guys. Diamondbackvapeco.com. Never mind. AutoMod said sit down. You get nothing. So, but yeah, diamondbackvapeco.com. You guys check it out. I'm running like a brand new weekly deal every week. This week it's 560 mils of naked for $20 or $60 shipped. Sorry. And yeah, guys, go check it out.
I need
not
my
new.
pod.
It's redesigned.
Do you have Pog Nick Salts? Because I love that in my MyPod.
I do have Nick salts.
Oh, I might have to go get some. My shop is always running out of it for some reason.
Steve, sign off so I can go home.
Okay. Well, you know, if you guys are here, you know about my channel, and I'll be having some reviews coming up. I got some more mainstream RDAs and stuff coming out that I'm going to be reviewing, not just the high end as usual, but I will be divulging or whatever the word is into more affordable type products. And I will be starting my Instagram TV channel very soon if you guys would like to stop on by. And that's all I got to say.
We keep getting close to the mic all of a sudden.
Just hear my voice.
Hey. All right, guys.
I've never seen the top of his head so much.
I don't like mine. I got ugly hair. Goodbye, everybody.
Peace, y'all.
See y'all later.